Hokage-sama, surely you can't be serious in giving that creature the last name of Namikaze, and removing the Kyuubi festival from Konoha. What would the Yondaime say if he heard your decision? Said a civilian councilman, as he was going to make a formal protest and make sure the people of Konoha rally against this decision. I think my late successor would say, "What took you so long to do this, Sarutobi?" Before killing every single person in this room that had a hand in some way of disrupting the boy's development into being a formidable shinobi, said the Sandaime, as he smirked at the people in the room, shift uneasily at that, and knew that they wouldn't do anything because of what happened at the Chunin exam arena with Okamura. Even now, clients were requesting Vergil for certain missions they felt only a Namikaze could handle. Konoha Hospital 2 hours later. Vergil walked through the halls of the hospital towards several choice rooms to see a few people regarding Orochimaru and what they knew of his operations. As he walked to his intended destination, Vergil ignored the looks from doctors and the nurses looking at him with the occasional glare. Even with the fact that he was the son of the Yondaime being made known in record time throughout Konoha, it apparently didn't remove the hate the people still had for him, and only seemed to aggravate them more. No doubt, they felt that he being alive was an insult to the Yondaime, as the son should have died like his father to protect them from the Kyuubi, and make their lives easier. How stupid could these people be? Deciding to stave off that line of thought for another time, Vergil entered room number 345, and saw one Tsuchi-kin in restraints with an Anbu watching her to make sure she didn't have the strength to escape unnoticed. Standard procedure. Of course, when an enemy shinobi is too injured for interrogation, and needs to be placed in the hospital until they were healthy enough for interrogation later on. "Leave us," said Vergil, as he looked at the Anbu with a hawk mask on his face, and saw the man walk out of the room before shutting the door fully. "You were the one who saved me," said Kin as she saw this handsome man before her walk to the side of her bed, and she felt her face heating up at seeing him for the first time without blurry vision.
That is correct. My name is Namikaze Vergil, but in another point in time of my life, I was known to all as Uzumaki Naruto, and the jail of the Kyuubi. Though the people in the Leaf don't really care for the difference between the jail and the jailer itself, said Vergil, as he saw Kin look at him with a shocked look on her face, and remembering how he was back during the written test.
"That was you. What happened to you?" said Kin, as she wondered how such a short, badly dressed Leaf shinobi could turn into his hunk of a man that had every woman hot on his heels to have their way with him.
Let's just say not all deals made with the devil are bad ones. Especially, when you have nothing to lose, and everything to gain from such things that would make others hesitant to take it. Speaking of deals, I am here to make you one, as I spoke with the Hokage some time ago after the end of a meeting I had with him, the rest of the internal government of the Leaf. What I require is all the knowledge of Orochimaru's bases, contacts, and anything else you may know about the Sanin's dealings in great detail to bring to the old man before I head out to track down his successor. Now before you become hesitant in this, I must tell you that if you say no, the head of the torture department Morino Ibiki will take over in getting the information, and in case you don't know who that is, he was the head proctor for the written test of the Chunin exam, said Vergil, as he saw Kin look at him with wide eyes, and then they went further at the fact in learning who Ibiki was. I can hold out. The Hokage is a sweet old man from what Orochimaru told us. Surely he won't let a pawn in the Sanin scheme suffer for the crimes for the snake, said Kin, as her resolve was slowly crumbling, but it was noticeable to even a rookie interrogator, and Vergil could see the fear in her eyes regardless of her words.
Time to move in for the kill. True. The current Hokage is a sweet old man that can't do this job anymore, but at the same time that sweet old man is retiring soon. So when I bring back his successor, it won't be a sweet old man that takes the title of Hokage and shows mercy to you. The person that the Sandaime wants to take over is woman, who has little patience for others around her, and has a short temper when it comes to those that resist doing what she asks. I also assume you know of your former master's teammate Senju Tsunade, said Vergil, as he saw Kin nod her head with some effort. And then her face paled when she put all the facts together. Wait. Senju Tsunade is going to be the next Hokage of the Leaf, said Kin, as she had heard the stories of the woman's temper and incredible strength that was inflicted on all that upset her. Particularly one-toed Sannin of a teammate that got caught peeping on her years ago. Yes. When she takes the mantle of Hokage, she will have zero tolerance for those that invaded the village her grandfather founded with her granduncle. She will unleash a Biki on you with all her vengeance in a way the Sandan doesn't have the heart to do now, and unlike the Sandame, I have no way to influence her to show you mercy. The third Hokage and I are very close like family. If you give me what I want, I'll tell the Hokage to show you mercy through current Konoha laws, and make sure you stay out of the prison system where all sorts of people would make your life miserable upon entering that world, said Vergil, as he saw the girl shiver with fear. At that since she had a good idea of what would happen upon her entering the Leaf's prison, and that was no place for her.
Besides, she had no loyalty to Orochimaru now after what he pulled in using her body to be a sacrifice for his freaky rising of the dead jutsu, and it couldn't hurt to spill what she knew if the law would help her rather than hurt.
Right? What do you want to know? Vergil-sama, said Kin, as she saw Vergil smile at her, and once again feel her cheeks warming up again involuntarily. Let's start from the beginning with the population number of sound, said Vergil, as he pulled out a tape recorder and placed it on the stand that held her food tray. It was in that moment, Tsuchi-kin understood the phrase, and the truth will set you free, and did just that to be free from Orochimaru. Hokage's office at that moment. I've been going over some interesting reading here, Kakashi. Do you know what it is that I was reading? Said the Sandame, as he saw the man look at him with lazy eyes, and saw his hand itching for his book while in the seat across from him. Another copy of Icha Icha Paradise written by your student, said Kakashi, as he didn't think anything of this meeting, and thought the old man wanted to congratulate him on a job well done with his team.
It was the report that you submitted regarding your training regime for all three of your students since you first had them as your official team. Let's start with Sakura. According to your overall team report as of today, you have had her learn tree climbing, trap making with no means of perfecting her taijutsu, and simply recommending she learn genjutsu be added to her arsenal outside of academy basics without even taking her to see Yuhi Kurenai for such lessons, said the old Hokage, as he looked at the Junin in front him, who still had a lazy look on his face, and had once again been resisting to read his book in front of the Hokage because of the serious face the man was making. It was something I planned to do, but the Chunin exams came up shortly after we got back from Wave Country, and Kurenai was busy with her team as it was, said Kakashi, as he had been meaning to have Sakura see Kurenai, but his time was better spent reading his book, and training Sasuke for the Chunin exam finals.
I see. Next we have Sasuke's training regimen, which starts out with tree climbing like the others, but deviates later on with taijutsu training, and learning some of the justice you've learned over the years, thanks to the Sharingan in your eye, with one of them being your Todori of all things along with a copy of Rock Lee's taijutsu that he used in the preliminaries, said Tsurugi, as he looked at Kakashi for an explanation, and the Jounin simply gave him a smile, with his only uncovered eye. Well, Sasuke was going up against Sabaku no Gaara, who as it turns out is a demon vessel, and an unstable one at that. If I didn't teach him like I did, then Gaara would have crushed him had they fought, and the Uchiha clan's restoration would be in the hands of Uchiha Itachi. Something we both know is impossible at this point in time since the man has no intention of reviving his clan after destroying it, said Kakashi, as he didn't see what the problem was at all, and waited for the Hokage to continue. Lastly, your final student that was once Uzumaki Naruto has received the least amount of training from you, and has only learned tree climbing. Why is this? Why not teach him taijutsu or any of the jutsus you know, Kakashi? Furthermore, why did you focus on Sasuke during the month before the Chunin exams, and not on both of them equally? You had the time to do it and make sure Sakura had some time with Kurenai in the process. You knew the Hyuga Neji could easily kill Vergil had he not unlocked his new power, and had not met Jiraiya in the hot springs when he was with Abisu. Why did you pass him off to Abisu? You knew the man disliked Vergil from the start, and was going to give him mediocre training at best, said the Hokage, as his eyes hardened even more. And it was then that Kakashi's eyes began to lose their laziness. Because Naruto has shown no real talent in being a shinobi. Even with the means to use the shadow clone jutsu, the boy has shown no talent other than being a total idiot, and it was simply a fluke the boy got so far in being a shinobi, much less make it to the exam finals, said Kakashi, as he was still a bit upset that the boy had taken his sensei's last name, and even more in drawing his sword against the last Uchiha. I see. Perhaps it was a fluke that Vergil passed. However, it wouldn't be a fluke had the academy been fair to the boy in teaching him, and his sensei actually putting in the work to teach him something outside of chakra control. You showed favoritism, Kakashi, which, if I remember correctly, was something you were taught not to show when it came to teaching a genin team. Now your team is in a situation that does not look promising because it will now be a member short, said the Hokage, as he saw Kakashi's eyes widen in shock, and wondered what the old man meant by that.
What do you mean, Hokage-sama? Will Sasuke get promoted even though he didn't fight? Said Kakashi in a hopeful voice, since that would give him time to focus more on the Uchiha, and make the boy stronger. Having enough of Kakashi's stupidity, the Hokage slammed his hand down on his desk, shaking it to a point that his pipe nearly fell off, and the glare that the Sandaime was given the Junin could make water freeze.
The Uchiha is not going to be promoted in any sense of the word, Kakashi. It's Vergil who is being promoted to Chunin status, Kakashi, which is almost a shame, since if it were within my power right now, I might even make him a Junin, since he's certainly around that level, and could exceed all expectation like his father, said the Hokage, as he saw Kakashi look at him with surprise, and wanted to protest the promotion. You can't be serious, Hokage-sama. The boy can't be trusted with that rank. He has no form of stability, his skills are barely passing as a genin, and the demon inside of him is another threat to consider if it decides to break free, said Kakashi, as he saw the Hokage shake his head at the Junin and let out a sigh of disappointment. Do you not even care that the boy you are trying so hard to keep from succeeding in the life of a shinobi is your sensei's only son? Said the Hokage, and was surprised to see Kakashi's eyes harden at that. That boy is not my sensei's son. I was the only son the Yondaime ever needed in his life, and I would have been officially adopted into his family had the damn fox attacked, causing Minato-sensei to be taken away after sealing the demon away, said Kakashi, as he had always been aggravated that Minato had fallen in love with Kushina, and had tried to discreetly steer him away from her.
No such luck, from what the Sandaime explained to the Junins earlier after the council meeting, which Kakashi was forced to attend on time, and then stay afterwards when everyone got their questions answered concerning the Namikaze heir. I'm sorry you feel that way, Kakashi, but as it stands, Namikaze Vergil is going to be promoted to Chunin rank, and will be sent out with Jiraiya within the week to find Senju Tsunade to take my place as the Hokage of Konoha, said the Sandaime, as he saw the Junin nod his head in acceptance of Tsunade being the new Hokage, but not that of his student's promotion.
It was the wrong student. And what of Sasuke? Said Kakashi, as he needed to know where his student stood in this, and possibly get more time training the Uchiha. Sasuke is going to be reprimanded for not only being late, but interfering in one of the Chunin exam matches, and will be banned from leaving Konoha on any missions for the next 6 months, said the Sandaime, as he saw Kakashi become shocked by this, but accepted it nonetheless, and decided not to press the issue should it become worse.
This mean Team 7 is on the shelf doing D-ranked missions, doesn't it? Said Kakashi, as he saw the Hokage nod, and decided that at least this way he could properly train Sasuke while giving Sakura to Kurenai for genjutsu lessons. Yes, I suggest you take this time to reflect on your teaching habits, Kakashi, before you do anything else that could endanger your other students farther without proper training, said the Sandaime before dismissing the Junin from his office and let out a tired sigh.
Konoha, hospital 3 days later.
Vergil found himself having a sense of deja vu in walking down the halls of the hospital yet again. Only his target, or rather targets this time, were the Sound Four that had been captured after getting trounced by the half-devil. Kin had provided a great deal of info in regards to Sound's interior from what she knew from training there with her teammates and about the Sound Four themselves, since one of them was a dear friend. Walking into the room, the half-devil Namikaze saw each member of the Sound Four was strapped down with various restraints that went against their strengths, and had several Anbu in the room. All four of them were awake, but silent since they had no intention of talking, and betraying their master to the likes of the Leaf.
Well, at least until Vergil decided to change their minds, that is. Healing well, I take it, said Vergil, as he saw them look at him when he walked in, and one by one they began to slowly panic from the sight of him. He's come back to finish the job. Quick, someone toss us out the window, said Sakan, as he along with his symbiotic brother were now struggling to get free, and only stopped when their eyes met Vergil's, telling them to stop moving. I did not come here to kill you, but that could change if you upset me. And since there are 4 of you here, I doubt losing one of you will upset the Hokage. For you see, as long as one of you is even remotely alive to have a member of the Amanaka clan probe your heads for answers, I can do whatever it is I want to you, and easily get away with it, said Vergil, as his words were like a cold chill running up their spines, and felt this guy was not someone they should upset. Our loyalty is to Orochimaru-sama. We won't tell you anything, said Kidomaru, as he tried to not be intimidated by Vergil's stare and the creepy smirk that seemed to easily outdo Orochimaru's own. We'll see. I've already got a great deal of information from Chuchikin, who has no such loyalty to Orochimaru, after using her as his sacrifice for his summoning of the Shadame of Konoha. And if I were in her position, so would I, said Vergil, seeing the 3 male prisoners in the room curse Kin for her betrayal. But Tayuya was clearly shocked by this, and then eyed him carefully to see if he was lying. Orochimaru had originally told Tayuya that her dear friend Kin had been killed during the Chunin exam preliminaries, and that the best way to get revenge on Konoha was to use the intended plan that was cooked up for the invasion that would wipe out the Leaf. At the time, Tayuya agreed wholeheartedly on the plan to avenge her friend, but now with this information coming to light, the red-haired foul-mouthed flute user was having her loyalty put into question, and wondered if betraying Orochimaru could be an option of payback for her. What will happen to Kin now? Said Tayuya, as she wanted to know what happened to her friend, and saw Vergil turn to her with those fierce blue eyes. An arrangement was worked out between her, the Hokage, and myself, though that is immaterial at this moment. I am giving you all one chance to come clean in telling me what I want to know, so I can report it to the Hokage. If you don't, then you will each have a one-on-one session with Moreno Ibiki, and by the time you break, a new Hokage will be in place that is not as merciful as the one currently sitting in the chair getting ready to retire, said Vergil, as he saw the 3 males of the group resisting the offer, in the belief they could take it after being under Orochimaru's tutelage, but Tayuya, it seemed, was considering it, and was wondering if she could get a deal similar to Kin. If I tell you what you want to know, will I get to see Kin again, or possibly get the same deal? Said Tayuya, as didn't want to serve Orochimaru anymore, and figured that she could be in worse crap than she was now. Right?
Do you want the same deal as her? Said Vergil, as he had asked Kin if she was alright with what was going to happen with her, and had practically begged him for it.
If I get to be with my friend, then fuck yeah. No matter what it is, I want the same deal as her, and I'll spill my guts about what I know about Orochimaru, said Tayuya, as she was not about to protect some lying boy-touching prick with a god complex, and would prefer some form of sanctuary in the Leaf instead of their prison.
Tayuya, you backstabbing bitch. How can you betray Orochimaru-sama like this? Said Jirobo, as he struggled to get out of his restraints, and activate his curse seal only to find it wasn't responding.
Because he nearly killed a good friend of mine and told me she was killed by the very people we were fighting, you fat ass! You want to work for that pedophile? Then go right ahead, but I'm sure as hell not, and prefer a place where I won't have to sleep with one eye open every night, said Tayuya, as she glared at the weakest member of the group, and saw how the curse seal on his body wasn't responding.
While you were all unconscious, Jiraiya of the Sannin took a look at your curse seals, and put near-permanent suppressing seal structure on it just in case any of you decided to do something stupid. Anbu, could you be so kind as to wheel to Yuya's bed out of the room with me so we can go record what it is she has to say without any interruption from her former teammates, and make things easier for her, said Vergil, as the Anbu nodded since they all heard from the Hokage that he was going to handle them himself.
Separate the worthy from the screwed.
You better pray to Kami we never get free to Yuya because if we do, we're going to kill you traitorous bitch, said Ukin, as he snaked his neck from behind his brother's back, and snarled at the red-haired girl.
Turning to face Ukan, Vergil walked over to the two brothers stuck together, and after staring at the face of Ukan for only a second, Vergil backhanded face into his brother. The end result was Ukan having a broken jaw, and Sakan's forehead bleeding from where his brother's face hit.
See to it that these two go straight to Anko the moment they are cleared. Tell her to hurt them a lot, said Vergil, as he had walked out of the room, and the Anbu shaking their heads while inwardly they were showing just a small amount of pity for the unfortunate prisoner.
Or was it prisoners? Either way it didn't matter since the said person, S, was screwed. Hokage's office 2 hours later. Is this everything, Vergil? Said the Hokage, as he was glad he put Vergil in charge of the means to gather information out of the specified prisoners with their statements on what they saw while working for Orochimaru recorded for proof of defection. Yes. Kin was more than willing to give me information since she has no intention of going back to Orochimaru, and Taiyu was willing to spill her guts after she learned what the Sannin tried to do with her friend. Your student is a poor general when it comes to moving pieces across the board against his enemies, said Vergil, as he saw Hiruzen smile at that, and looked over the written report Vergil gave about the two speaking about what they experienced while being in sound. He never cared much for the pawns when it came to positioning them, but that is a story for another time, as we need to use this information to our advantage, and strengthen our position in the leaf before Orochimaru becomes bold again, said Sarutobi, as he now knew who Orochimaru's spies were in the leaf, and what places held the experiments the Sannin had been working on for achieving immortality. When do I get Tsunaid with Iro Sennin? Said Vergil, as he knew that if he didn't get to the last Sannin, Orochimaru would, and tempt the woman with something she couldn't get in Konoha.
2 days. Jiraiya has been spending his time fixing Gaara's seal, as he's been finding that it was much worse than everyone thought, and needs another day to complete it, said Sarutobi, as he had heard from Jiraiya that Gaara's seal had long since been unstable since the boy was born, and needed a major overhaul to get it working properly.
Good. What is the situation regarding Suna in general? Said Vergil, as he knew that because of this invasion, a lot of questions were being asked regarding the other hidden village, and not having answers was not something people wanted with this situation. Danzo had called for an immediate invasion of Suna while saying that it was the perfect opportunity to remove the hidden village off the map, and would bring more clients to the village because of it. The idea was instantly shot down, as that would ruin everything the village stood for, and would make the fire daimyo displeased with them, since the man would not sanction such a thing in the first place.
A new alliance treaty for our two hidden villages is being written up right now by the late 4th Kage's middle child Subaku Kankuro and should be finished by the time after you return with Tsunade, said the Sandaime, as he had been told by the oldest of the 3 siblings about how their father tried to turn Gaara into a weapon, and how they wanted her little brother to be powerful enough to make Suna have its reputation restored in being one of the strongest of hidden villages.
I take it the councils will want to dominate the spoils of the treaty regardless of the very reason behind it. Was the very reason behind breaking the treaty, said Vergil, as the two councils were already in an uproar as it was, and would seek to take it out on someone or something? The Fire Daimyo and Wind Daimyo have already decided that they will decide the final terms of the treaty since it was their decision, in the first place, that caused the problem with Suna allying with Orochimaru. Speaking of agreements, how are the 2 girls that told you what we wanted to know taking their new arrangements, and have there been any problems upon learning of them? Said the Hokage, as he knew that while one girl would welcome it, the other may not, and throw a very loud fit if her vocal nature was correct. Kin doesn't mind as she welcomes the change, but Tayuya was bit resistant to it until Kin pleaded with her and decided to go along with it, said Vergil, as he smirked at the red-haired girl's reaction to the agreement Kin made with him and how she was going to get the same thing. I imagine given what I heard about her mouth making Anko learn a few things. But aside from that they don't mind, said the Sandaime, as he wanted to make absolutely sure his surrogate grandson was safe with the two former sound shinobi, and that they won't try to kill him in his sleep. No, said Vergil, as he blocked out the memory of Tayuya's face turning red like her hair in anger, and seemed to restrain herself from throwing something at him because of her new status within the leaf, along with Kin. Very well then. In 2 days, go with Jiraiya and find Tsunade so she can become the next Hokage, said the Sandaime, as he dismissed Vergil, and the said half-devil left for his clan home. Namikaze estate sometime later. Vergil walked through the door of his home before looking around to find it looked a lot cleaner than when he left it, since it originally had tons of dust floating around. Walking towards the kitchen, he smelled the scent of food being made, and the happy humming sound coming from one Tsuchi Kin, reaching his ears. In truth, Kin had jumped at the chance of being Vergil's slave and swearing to serve her new master however he wished to be served without question. Unlike Orochimaru, the half-devil had no interest in abusing the former sound shinobi with threats, and treating her like some expendable tool that could be thrown out with just a flick of the wrist. And while Kin wasn't quite skilled in anything aside from minor taijutsu and genjutsu with the bells, it didn't stop Vergil from making sure Kin received necessary training for the future. Tayuya, on the other hand, was more resentful maybe. Or was it possibly the idea of being a slave to anyone given her dominating presence that made her to be pissed off? In any case, Tayuya hadn't realized what the deal Kin made until after agreeing to it, and became Vergil's slave. It smells good, Kin-chan. I take it the cookbooks around here helped a lot, said Vergil, as Kin turned around, and saw him before running over to him in her maid outfit she now wore to give him a hug. Vergil-sama, I'm so glad you're home. Tayuya-chan has been a bit resistant in wearing her maid outfit. I told her she should since it's much better than the clothes we wore in sound, said Kin, as she pressed her form against his, and loved how he felt with the muscles his body had beneath his clothes. How she loved it. How she loved him. I'll speak to her and reach a compromise. As for you, well, don't look now, but your stew seems to be getting ready to boil over, said Vergil, smirking at Kin, who looked at her stew and saw it was ready to just about explode, making the girl run over to turn off the stove to prevent another kitchen catastrophe. The last time she cooked a meal unprepared, the meal came alive, and Vergil had to kill it with his sword before it could cause anyone harm. As for Tayuya, Vergil walked over to where he sensed her, and saw she was not wearing her maid outfit, like Kin had welcomed herself to wearing. Instead, Tayuya took it upon herself to wearing a skin-tight crimson shinobi outfit, and saw her training hard in what was one of several sparring rooms in the estate. She of course sensed his presence, as it was the only signature in the house that toppled Tayuya's own along with Kin's, and when she spun around to face him saw that he was looking at her with an unreadable face. I know. I should wear the maid outfit, but I'm not much of a maid kind of girl, and would rather not have to wear the fucking thing, said Tayuya, as she nearly had to bite her tongue when she felt it try to move to say, Please don't make me wear it, and saw Vergil nod in understanding.
I know, Kin feels that is her role here in this house, but at the same time I want her to train so she is ready for anything, or anyone that comes here to hurt you both when I'm not around. As for you Tayuya-chan, I feel your current attire is appropriate for you, and suggest you wear it since it makes you look tough, said Vergil, as he walked by Tayuya, and gave her shoulder a pat before walking by.
Thank you, Vergil-sama, said Tayuya, as she still wasn't used to calling him that, and knew that it would take some getting used to. It also shows off your rack and ass, said Vergil, as he smirked when he saw Tayuya's face turn red like her hair, and became angry at him. Hentai, yelled Tayuya as she drew her short sword and threw it at him with deadly accuracy. Or at least it would have if not for Vergil catching it, and looked at Tayuya with an ever-disappointed look on his face. I'll deal with punishing you later, Tayuya-chan. But for now, let's see if Kin has finished making dinner and fill our stomachs to our heart content. Oh joy, another round of my ass getting spanked in front of Kin, and with the tip of his sword no less, thought Tayuya, as she had been punished in that way when she had first become his slave, and refused to wear the maid uniform while calling him a chicken shit pussy that likes to take it up the ass by gay old man that have just taken Viagra. Tayuya got 100 hits to each ass cheek for that, with the flat of his sword smacking it with enough force to make it red and bleed a little. Even now it hurt to move while training when not sitting down. 2 days later,